The truth revealed here is one that still haunts hip-hop decades later. Scott LaRock, the visionary DJ who helped birth gangsta rap, was gunned down at just 25 years old in 1987. But his death carries secrets far darker than anyone imagined. Before we dive into what really happened, let's remember who Scott LaRock was at his core. Born Scott Sterling in 1962, he graduated from Castleton State College and dedicated himself to helping others as a social worker in the Bronx. This educated, compassionate man used his position to change lives, including that of a homeless teenager named Lawrence Parker at the Franklin Men's Shelter. That meeting would transform hip-hop forever. LaRock saw raw talent in Parker, who would become KRS-One, and together they founded Boogie Down Productions. LaRock crafted the groundbreaking sound of their 1987 debut album Criminal Minded, using his strategic mind to package street reality into something the world had never heard before. He was building a bridge between education and the streets, using his platform to tell important stories. Before we continue, if you're finding this story as fascinating as we do, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. What do you think about Scott LaRock's dual life as both a social worker and a pioneering artist? Was he a contradiction or a visionary? Let us know your thoughts. Now for the first terrible secret. LaRock faced an impossible psychological burden. By day, he counseled troubled youth towards stability and rehabilitation. By night, he created music that glorified the very chaos he fought against professionally. The Criminal-Minded album cover showed him in KRS-One surrounded by guns, grenades, and ammunition. This wasn't accidental. LaRock strategically designed this shocking imagery to break through in the competitive New York rap scene. He called it a journalistic representation of Bronx reality, not the celebration of violence. But the line between art and reality became dangerously blurred. LaRock wanted to define reality through his music while transcending the ghetto. Yet he relied on his most violent imagery for commercial success. This internal conflict would prove prophetic. The album itself was a masterpiece of calculated risk. LaRock's production featured rigid and rugged beats with neck-snapping drum programming. He sampled everything from James Brown to AC/DC to Billy Joel, creating a melodic diversity that set BDP apart. The album title, Criminal Minded, was his strategic invention. He took the phrase from KRS-One's rhymes and built an entire philosophy around it. His vision was clear. Talk about reality, do what we have to do to get the money, but not become criminals ourselves. This positioning was brilliant. He wasn't advocating for crime. He was documenting it, holding up a mirror to the streets. But the provocative imagery was deliberately disconcerting, designed to maximize impact. LaRock understood that shock value could be a commercial weapon, and he wielded it expertly. Yet this strategy legitimized the use of confrontational dynamics in professional settings. He made it acceptable for artists to embody the violent imagery they portrayed. The second terrible secret lies in how he died. On August 27, 1987, BDP member D. Nice was assaulted at the High Bridge Homes projects over a dispute about a girl. True to his social worker instincts, LaRock decided to personally mediate the situation peacefully. According to rapper Just Ice, who was there, the mission started as something peaceful. But LaRock made a fatal error in judgment. He brought along his bodyguard, Daryl, nicknamed RoboCop, who was known for his aggressive nature. Just Ice later revealed the situation became violent because of this one individual. RoboCop reportedly wanted to go get them rather than mediate. By bringing an aggressive protector to a delicate negotiation, LaRock undermined his own peaceful mission. The composition of that car ride tells the whole story. LaRock drove to High Bridge with D. Nice, their manager Scotty Morris, DJ McBoo, and RoboCop in a Jeep. The presence of an aggressive bodyguard at what should have been a peaceful resolution attempt was the fatal miscalculation. He wanted peace, but felt compelled to bring muscle. He wanted to use his social worker skills, but couldn't escape the image he'd created as a hardcore artist. This tension between his two identities cost him everything. As the group departed in their Jeep, Shots rang out from a nearby building. An incredibly improbable bullet struck LaRock in the back of his head. He didn't even realize he'd been shot at first, hitting his head on the dashboard. Rushed to Lincoln Hospital, he remained conscious long enough to tell doctors that same week, LaRock's death killed the deal instantly. Warner Brothers pulled out immediately, spooked by the violence. LaRock's infant son and mother allegedly suffered poverty, while KRS-One capitalized on the legacy they built together. The situation was made worse by the shady business practices that plagued early hip-hop. Criminal Minded was released on B-Boy Records, a label notorious for questionable accounting and limited distribution. The album's true sales figures were obscured, denying both LaRock and KRS-One the money they deserved even before the tragedy. When LaRock died, his family had no financial cushion. He stood on the verge of financial security for his family, but died before securing it. These three secrets intertwine to form a tragic legacy. But here's what matters most. Despite the controversies and betrayals, Scott LaRock's positive impact on hip-hop cannot be denied. He used his unique position, straddling two worlds, to change the conversation in music. His death, as devastating as it was, forced an immediate cultural reckoning. It inspired the Stop the Violence movement, which shifted hip-hop towards social consciousness and away from glorifying destruction. LaRock proved that educated strategic thinking could harness street authenticity for powerful art. He was a pioneer who understood that hip-hop could document reality without becoming consumed by it, even if he struggled with that balance personally. His production work on Criminal Minded influenced countless artists. His vision of using music as journalism, as a critical lens on urban life, rather than mere glorification, became a template others would follow. He showed that hip-hop artists could be complex, educated individuals wrestling with difficult contradictions rather than simple caricatures. His influence extended beyond just the music itself. LaRock demonstrated that hip-hop could be a vehicle for social mobility and change. He showed that someone could come from an educated background, work within the system as a social worker, and still create authentic street music. This opened doors for future artists who didn't fit narrow stereotypes. He proved you didn't have to be an actual criminal to make criminal-minded music. You could be an observer, a documentarian, a storyteller. This distinction became crucial as hip-hop matured. The Stop the Violence movement that emerged from his death became one of hip-hop's defining moments. It brought together artists from across the spectrum to address the violence plaguing communities and the culture itself. The song Self-Destruction, created in his memory, became an anthem that reached millions. It showed hip-hop could be a force for positive change, not just entertainment or provocation. This movement shifted the entire trajectory of the genre, proving that commercial success and social consciousness weren't mutually exclusive. Yes, his dual life created impossible tensions. Yes, his leadership miscalculation contributed to his death. Yes, the alleged financial betrayal by his partner stains his legacy. But Scott LaRock's core contribution remains untarnished. He was a social worker who never stopped trying to help people, who saw potential in a homeless teenager and built something revolutionary. He crafted sonic landscapes that still resonate today. He died trying to resolve a conflict peacefully, staying true to his instincts even when it cost him everything. If you've made it this far, we want to hear from you one more time. What do you think is Scott LaRock's true legacy? Pioneer, victim, or visionary? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into hip-hop history. The terrible secrets Scott LaRock died with reveal a man caught between worlds, but his music and influence transcend the tragedy. He changed hip-hop forever, and that positive impact will always define who he was.